Hello, my name is Errol, and in the previous video I was playing around with the UI builder. In the next few videos I wanted to set up the customization for the Synty character, but I ran into some bugs, and in the process of debugging I decided I should just start over. So what you're seeing now is me starting over from scratch. I just, started a brand new project. Debugging is so fun when you're new and clueless like myself. This will go for another minute, so jump to the next chapter to get to the configuration of the Synty character. I'm going to leave this as a reference for myself because there were a number of updates, including Unity and Atavism. And if you're wondering why I'm starting over, it's not because I suck at debugging and was switching between Unity versions on my main project, because that would be dumb. Starting from the beginning did show me minor changes from my first video. Good grief, it's barely been 2 weeks and already the videos are wrong. And the thing I'm going to fix in this video, the reason that I was debugging, it will probably be fixed in the next update. So this video will be wrong too. However, I did learn a lot of things while debugging, so it wasn't like a waste of my time. And what, pray tell, am I talking about? Well, it's the Modular Customization Manager Editor, which is a mouthful. So let's get started with the Synty character. Like in the second video, we're going to search for HNG, find the modular character's HNG, drag it onto the scene, unpack it twice, and then change its name. Now, let me right-click the character and bring up its properties in a separate window. I know I'm covering the model. You can look at it afterwards. I'll collapse all the components and then expand the Modular Customization Manager script. Now, these models need to be set up, but they aren't. Look at the hair model. It's all missing. I'm going to set this list to 0, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in my hair models, which we'll find under all gender parts and under hair. And this is where my problem is. I can't drag these objects into this list, and there are 38 of them. I don't want to set it manually and then have to set all the other models. This used to work in Unity 2020, but it doesn't in Unity 2021, and Unity changed something so that it doesn't register this drag as a change in the GUI. I don't know if it's a feature or a bug, so I'll show you how to fix it. Right-click on the header of Modular Customization Manager script and edit the script. We actually don't want the script yet, but we want its folder, because in its folder there's an editor folder, and in that there's a Modular Customization Manager Editor script which we need to open. In here, search for onInspector GUI, and then we'll scroll to the bottom of this method. And although I didn't reiterate making backups of scripts you change, you really should. Here we'll find this line, this script object .apply modified properties. I'm going to copy and then paste this outside of the if statement above it. Inside the if statement, Unity would have made changes when it detected a change, but for some reason it didn't detect a change, so I took it outside. I'll save, and then I'll do a refresh of the screen to recompile stuff, and now when I drag in all of this hair, it works! Yay! Let me properly fill in all of these models at a nice high speed. In shaders, I will update the body shader so that it uses the URP version, and then under color options, we will uncheck this box. Allow different hair colors. Now, let's make this a prefab, but if I want to use it for my player templates, it must be inside the resources folder. You know who forgot that? Me. Yeah, I forgot that, even though I emphasized it so much in the last video. Anyway, let's make a couple of folders in here. I'm going to make a prefab folder in my custom folder. All good. I'll drag it in, and then we will remove it from the login scene. And now what I want to do is create a female version of this character. But I also want to point out, if you plan on using the HNG template that's included, there's a problem with it. We'll quickly speed through the prep for the female character and watch when we get to the eyebrow model. If I expand the skinned mesh renderer, look, its mesh is missing. It's not a big deal, you can replace it. There are 3 versions of each eyebrow, and I chose the second one. But if you don't change it, then you'll wonder why the eyebrows aren't changing. It's because the meshes are missing. So do that for all 7 of them. Once you finish setting this up, remember we're making a new prefab for the female character. We can now go to our Atavism Editor and set it up in the database. We've done this once before. I've done it many times for the Atavism Editor because I keep restarting. And once I've selected the profile, I'll open up the player templates within character and open up our human warrior player template. I always use the first one as a test, so let me change the male and female bodies to the ones we just created. Once I update that, I will now restart the server so we can test what we've done. We'll do a test run. You may have noticed I changed the tint so it's a red color and I know that I'm running. And yay, our genders switch back and forth, but we forgot to change the animations. So I will do that as was shown in video number 2. I didn't download any animations. I should have, and chose better ones. And now when I run the game, yay, they're not in the ground. But why does it start off gray? I can't even change it back to gray. And when I hit the head tab, whoa, where'd you go? I can't bring you back. We need to properly set up the character in and out location. This is done in the character selection scene. So find it, make sure you choose the right one, and then drag it into the hierarchy. Within here, you'll find the Character Select Create object, and down at the bottom is the camera in location and camera out location. The camera zooms into the head and zooms out to the body when you hit the head and body tabs. But the location set here is relative to your character, and so it's set to these high numbers and goes off into the blue yonder, so you don't see anything when you click those tabs. So I'll set these values to 0 and save it, and then I'll unload the character selection scene so that I can run the game. When the game is running, now when I hit these tabs, notice how the camera slowly moves into position. I need to find the proper values to set the camera in location and camera out location. So let's expand character selection scene and then click the character select create again. Now, what we can do is just change these values and it will update in real time. So I'm just going to change these values until I find the right location for our gray guy. Again, why is that guy gray? Okay, these values I like. So I took a screenshot and then let's just plug them in. And now when we run the game, there we go. Our character now goes back and forth. The starting location is off, so I'll probably have to change the camera itself, its transform. Next up, I want to change these color options and these sliders. How can we add more of them? Adding sliders and colors is done within the character selection scene, but it's buried. So if you load it up and under Canvas, Character Creation, and Character Customizer, you will find Body Scroll View and Head Scroll View. Those correlate to the body and head tabs that we showed in the earlier section. We'll expand Body Scroll View, and in it you'll find its viewport, and you want to expand the viewport as well to find this body panel. Let's collapse all the components and then expand Modular Character DNA panel, and here we can add sliders and add colors. As an example, I'm going to add a color, a new one, and it will be for the stubble. The top drop-down lets you choose what color you want to change, and the display name lets you change the label. Feel free to add more colors by adding them from this list, but if you want to color anything else, that would require some programming. Now these colors were only for the body tab, so if you want to add anything to the tab that had the head, you would need to expand the head scroll view, then the viewport, and then click the head panel. And the sliders allow you to cycle through the modular parts like hair and bread. These sliders correspond to what you dragged into the Modular Customization Manager script. And since I'm in the head tab, let's add the head slider. Let's give this a name. And now that we are ready, let's go check out all the changes I did. Here we go. And now I can change the color of the stubble if I want to. I would suggest you go and experiment with all the different things that you can color. And in the head tab, we have our hair slider and our bread slider, and then also the head slider that I just added. Oh, I should have colored this something other than white so it was easier to see. Oh, and by the way, I did not call that bread. That was already there, so that's not a me thing, okay? And now there is one other problem. Actually, there's more than one, but watch what happens when I move the sliders to the left. I can't get rid of the hair or the beard. There isn't an empty state, so let's put that in. I'm going to open up the male prefab that I created. And note, you're going to have to do this to the female one as well, so keep that in mind. I'll just bring up the Modular Character Male's properties, and down here you will find all of the hair models, and initially they are turned off. But once you start moving the slider, it will turn each of these on one by one. The thing is, there is no mechanism for the slider to turn all of the hair off. We could code that in to the sliders, but that sounds really hard. So here's a hack I did. Within the all01 hair, I created an empty object. And then I named that empty object the same pattern as the others and moved it up to the top. You can see on the model that it's invisible, there's nothing there, and that's what we want. So let's drag that new model into the hair models. And then we'll also drag it to the top to be element 0. Great, when the slider goes all the way to the beginning, it will show this model, which is nothing. And that's what we want. And we're going to do the exact same thing to the beard. If I can find it. It's in here somewhere. And of course, I'm only doing this for the hair and the beard, but this is just an example. You, of course, will do it for other elements within your model. So now that this is done, let's take a look at how this worked. I'll choose the head, slide the bread to the right and to the left, and look, it's empty. Same thing with the hair. Now I can choose to have no hair and no bread. We're all good. The head's fine. Okay, you know what else is bothering me? The fact that it starts off gray or white. So we're going to fix that. Let's start off by selecting our modular character, doesn't matter which one, and you will see its default skin color is this pinkish one. It's not white. So why is it when I run the game, it starts off all white? It's not our default color. Well, the reason is that this is set by the color picker for the skin color. I'll zoom in because it's so small. Okay, do you see that? The skin color picker starts off as white. And it doesn't use the default color we picked. And unfortunately, the only way we can fix this is through code. So let's do that. Back in Unity, I will load the character selection scene, and then I'll click the character select create game object, and then we will open up the character selection creation manager script. Let's edit that. You may remember this script from the last video, but this time we want to find the method RegisterModularCharacterPicker. What does this thing do? It initializes our color picker thingy and attaches it to our model. Here we have this switch statement that says switch on ModularCharacterColor.dna. And that was specified when we added a color to our body panel. We did that a couple of chapters ago in case you forgot. Anyway, this RegisterModularCharacterPicker runs for every color definition that you define. In this case, it will run twice. Once for skin color and another time for stubble color. It will actually also run for the hair color, but I didn't show that here. For now, let's scroll down to the case where we switch on the skin color. On this line, we are adding a listener on the color picker so that when its value changes, it's going to switch the skin color of our model. Getting back to our problem, we need to set up the default for a color picker. Otherwise, it will stick with that white color. You may notice this commented out line. I typed that in earlier because there was no way I was going to remember this. And, you know, you have real tutorial video people that just type everything out by memory. I don't know how they do that. Anyway, I don't. Let's put it back into business so that before we add the listener, we assign our default skin color to the picker. Now the thing is, this ModularCustomizationManager.defaultSkinColor, it doesn't exist yet in this method, so I'm going to have to scroll all the way up. And this line makes it exist so I can grab its default colors from the Modular Customization Manager. Again, this wasn't originally there. I added this in before I made this video. So let's save, return to the Unity editor, refresh and compile, and run the game. I forgot to unload. Let's redo that. Yay, it's our default color. Our stubble is still white, but the skin color, look, it even has the default color that we set. Now, I'm not going to show it here, but we're going to have to return to our Character Selection Creation Manager script. And for each of those case statements, we're going to have to add a default color. For example, for hair color, we will need to initialize the color picker to the default hair color. And now you may be thinking, okay, we're done with default. No. I'm going to go back to the Unity editor. I'll select my modular character, and this time I'm going to change its default skin color to blue. And now I'll run the game, and it's initially blue, but yeah, I changed the genders, and the blue disappears. That's great. Every time you select a gender or a class or a race, it will reset the model. And the colors, the default colors, actually comes from the model itself and its materials. And you may want that. But if you don't want that because you want it to come from the place where you set the default colors, we have to edit code again. So go back to your character selection scene and click Character Select Create, and then edit the Character Selection Creation Manager script. This is a common script that you will edit in the future. Okay, let's search for ResetModel, and there are 5 instances of this, so let's go to the last one where it is defined. Here we go. And just like the previous edits, we're going to scroll down until we find that switch case that changes on the ModularCharacterColor.dna. And in our case, it's going to be the skin color. So here we are. Here's the code I already entered in outside of this video. It's switched skin color to color, and the color we are changing it to, fortunately enough, already is in this method, the ModularCustomizationManager.default skin color. And if you want to know what this for statement is for, I don't know. I mean, I know, but it's not there, whatever. I mean, the thing it's looping through isn't even being shown, so I'm not really sure. I'm tired. Let's just run the game so I can show you that this works. He's blue, switch to female. I didn't set her default color, but the male default color. Oh, it works. So we're good. Yay. Obviously, I didn't set anything else up. And I will need to do that, and I'll also need to update the code to take into consideration all the other colors that I might add. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. In the description, I will update the code. You may have noticed I put a little "E" in things I edited. I hope you learned something. I know I did. It was a long process to get this video. So I hope I did. I can't even talk anymore. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.